Well, greetings. Thanks for taking a minute to view this brief video clip. My name is Brett Eastman, the president and founder of Lifetogether Ministries, and I wanted to take this opportunity to go ahead and share with those of you that are seeking to try to champion small groups in your congregation. And it may be a part of your job, it may be a volunteer, but in most cases it's a full-time role that you're doing in a growing, faster growing church. I've had the privilege of being able to serve in that role for over 15 years at the combined Willow Creek and Saddleback, and then help to coach and consult, hundreds if not thousands of churches in one form or another over the last 25 years. Seek to try to launch and lead a healthy small group ministry, and the very heart of our ministry is to be able to come alongside senior pastors and small group pastors to try to help to connect their entire congregation and community. We've got a kind of a proven track record to get you to 75% to even 125% of your average adult attendance connected into groups with kind of our proven models. Also to help you catalyze an unlimited number of leaders, as crazy as it sounds, more leaders than you might perceive that you even need to be able to connect the congregation, because this has got an opportunity to go well beyond the walls of your existing congregation. To be able to cultivate disciples who make disciples, taking seriously that Jesus is called to not just be, but to make a disciple, the final words in the Great Commission. How do you mobilize the 80-90% that aren't stepping into that? We've got a number of ways in which we're doing that. We're helping you, coach you on how to train your existing and emerging leaders, along with sustaining those groups. It's hard to it's one thing to get a bunch of blast in the past, of new groups, but to be able to sustain them is a whole nother league. And then we're also helping you create what is media and technology based in curriculum and church-wide campaigns that can help bring alignment with your senior pastor to be able to, get a catalytic number of people into groups, but also to discover ways to get them to be willing to shoot and produce video curriculum that would help accomplish that. Instead of just going and getting third-party stuff, your congregation responds much better to the things that you do. And after doing this for a while, I know that sometimes it's difficult to get access to the senior pastor in growing, thriving churches. Believe me, I know. And harder yet still to get resources to do that kind of thing. And so for years, our primary target was a small group pastor that got us to the senior pastor. Now it's the senior pastor. At about 80% of the cases, they're coming to the small group pastors. So, but I'm, kind of wanting to resource you with the possibility of how you might be able to get to the senior pastor with the hopes of maybe helping you guys out. The last one is really to help you champion a new model for reaching your community through community, to leverage the power of a circle to change lives that ultimately change the world. One of the kind of secret sauces that we've learned is when I was at Saddleback with Rick, I videotaped him on a video curriculum in the book of James that I not only got, was a great thing to deliver content from a discipleship and a spiritual formation pathway for the existing groups, but I was able to launch about 100 new groups. That was a precursor to 40 Days of Purpose, thus the Purpose-Driven Life curriculum, and now we've gone on to produce over 500 video curriculum and church-wide custom campaigns in local churches like yours that have helped to exponentially grow the small group ministry in a variety of ways. And so many of the churches that are watching this are churches that have done a 40-day light campaign, or whether it be the story or something else from Bill Hybels or whatever. We're now just producing custom ones, but we're kind of taking the production up to another level in some new creative formats that isn't just a talking head, but is some other formats like what we call a cafe edition, which is kind of a conversation with 8 or so people from your staff, not just the senior pastor, but other ordinary folks, other key staff. The other ones, there's a town hall in a home or on a stage of a worship center or some venue where senior pastors sit in center stage and they're producing what is a video curriculum that is far more engaging. It's basically modeling of a small group in a form of a curriculum where the senior pastor is leading the small group. As crazy as that sounds, obviously it takes a little bit to coach them up and to coach the group up, and that's kind of one of the killer apps that we're doing these last number of years. But it's been a great platform for us to be able to develop breakthrough video curriculum that people will say yes to lead, even ordinary church members that say yes to gather some of their friends, not even host a group, but to be able to gather with a friend. So we're using a model of seriously 2 or more. that is providing an exponential seed to launching more and better groups. It's kind of a fun season for us. But I've decided to kind of come back to some of the small group pastors in those fast-growing and larger churches in the country and seek to try to deliver what is an opportunity that we're headed into in this next season. And essentially, it's the desire to want to be able to produce a video-based curriculum and campaign at our cost or even for free, with the hopes of being able to resell that curriculum to folks in your tribe, folks in other tribes. And so I have done $6 million of Christian publishing with curriculum, and we've done hundreds and hundreds of curriculums sold out of our kind of place. But now going back into a mode where we're going to resell it to other churches in a campaign format that want to follow along. So they'll take your senior pastor's sermons, the curriculum that we would do, the story that happens at your congregation. And so we're doing a pilot where we're kind of partnering with some of the small group pastors that want to go to their senior and say, hey, here's an opportunity to do this at cost, or what is even for free, based off a couple of different qualifying criteria. So to the degree that you're at all interested in hearing more about what we're doing by basically taking past sermon series and producing video curriculum, we can do up to 3 video curriculum over the course of a year, and all of it could be published and made available to other churches, or it's just one major campaign, or you want to kind of track with our 1-year community. It's an opportunity to be able to help you guys go through 3 waves of curriculum that we could coach your senior pastor on how to produce it yourself, or how we could kind of produce it full service, or maybe a train the trainer in our kind of a 1-year community program. And then to be able to produce what is a major church-wide campaign and a curriculum at a bit of a reduced price for us to be able to help catalyze this with a handful of churches in this kind of pilot where we're moving into a publishing, not just production and consulting. So again, if you're interested, there's a series of webinars and conference calls and even a consultation that you could do with us and our team in the weeks ahead if you want to at least take this to the next level by getting your senior pastor on a brief call with myself and our team to fill you in a little bit how we're doing, what we're doing, et cetera, maybe a little bit more who we are and kind of the story that we've had. But to that end, I'd love to be able to connect with you. Thanks so much for what you're doing. I get the labor of love. I know being in the belly of the whale, seeking to try to champion it and get influence on the weekend and access to the senior pastor's airtime on the weekend. But we're finding ways to be able to launch groups 52 weeks a year, not just during major campaign seasons, and love to be able to chat with you about that. Anyway, until then, blessings, and look forward to having you on one of our webinars or conference calls in the near future.